Welcome to Mommy Heal Thyself. We feature guests who provide you with the tools, resources, and strategies you need to say no to a life of pain and suffering from all forms of preventable disease, toxic drugs, and unnecessary surgeries. We hope to inspire you to boldly reclaim your ability to heal and to serve the ones you love.
Welcome, everyone, to another episode of Mommy Heal Thyself. Today, I'm joined by Sally DiCesare. Sally is a holistic dental hygienist with 47 years of experience helping women understand the deep connection between the mouth and whole body healing. She works with women who have given so much of themselves to others, and their own health is quietly suffering, often showing up first as oral issues like bleeding gums, cavities, or chronic inflammation. Her work supports a gentle return to balance by honoring the body's design, restoring the oral microbiome, and helping women to reclaim energy, clarity, and trust in their ability to heal, starting with the mouth. This work is part of Sally's larger movement, helping capable women to stop pushing through emotional depletion and instead restore themselves so that they can live, love, and lead with greater peace and vitality. Goodness gracious. We are so blessed to have you with us today.
I feel the same. Thank you so much for this invitation, Michelle.
Oh, wonderful. One of the reasons why I asked you to join us is because you help us to address certain chronic things that are going on in the background that we don't pay attention to. Now, before we get started into the meat of that, I would love to have a better understanding of how you got into this and what is it that is popping up for you now more so than ever in the people that you're working with.
So great question. I was raised basically holistically. Back in the 50s, we ate blackstrap molasses and whole wheat bread and listen to Linus Pauling, so my dad just was really into that. And so it's kind of been the lean that I've had my whole life. And so when I got into dental hygiene, it was a way to help people in a way that a lot of people didn't feel comfortable,
Mm.
in a environment where people felt uncomfortable because I felt I had the capacity to be conscious and attentive to them and still give them the guidance that they needed to improve their oral health. And in that year, when I graduated back in 78, we just thought of the mouth as totally separate from the body. I mean, a lot of people still do, right? That goes
Our
back to
insurance companies do.
isn't that the truth? But it's one big tube, the mouth, and it goes straight on through, right? And so if we say the eyes are the window to the soul, the mouth is the window to the body. And so I got into this just from watching what worked in the with people who were working so hard to get better home care. I mean, they were doing a great job, but they still came in with bleeding gums and cavities and sensitivity. And I was at the end of my rope basically on what I could give them because they were doing everything that the book said they were supposed to do, and it wasn't working. And so I started reading about other ways to support nutritionally, homeopathically. And then recently has come out more information about saliva testing. So we're actually looking at the oral microbiome now, not just the gut microbiome, but the oral microbiome, because every time you swallow, those bacteria that live in your mouth go down into your gut. And then acid reflux or whatever, those bacteria come back up into the mouth. So it is just totally related. And so that's what I'm really passionate about now, is because we've got a different window into a chronic problem.
So I'm curious, what do you find is one of the more common mistakes or misperceptions that people have with regards to their oral hygiene and their overall health?
Well, the the biggest mistake is it's not your fault.
Mm.
Whatever is going on in your mouth, you were born with a pristine mouth. And by the age of 2, you acquire those bacteria that cause whatever chronic dysbiosis you have in your mouth. So that would be, the cavities, the bad breath, the gum disease, the sensitivity, the recession. All of those, we can find bacterial causes for those problems. So when you were born, like I said, pristine mouth, when we're learning to socialize and eat different kinds of foods, we're running around the room tasting other people's food. People say, "Here, have this drink," right? And then, so you start being attacked. Well, those bacteria start to be inoculated into your mouth.
Mhm.
And then maybe you get a pet or your neighbor has a pet, you throw a ball, you put your finger
Mhm.
in your mouth or
Mhm.
you rub your face. And so you're getting those bacteria in your mouth. And then we start dating and we're swapping spit all over the place, right? And so depending on, as you know, Dr. Michelle, host response, what's the word? I want to say vitality of the pathogen that we're being hit with.
Yeah.
It all depends on if we're going to take those bacteria on as our own, right? And
Mhm.
then, so the biggest problem people do to treat that, and it was what we were told to do, we try to sanitize the mouth, right?
Mm.
And just like in the body, we learned you don't want to be taking antibiotics at the drop of a hat. You want to support your body's immune system to be able to control whatever's happening out there. Same thing. You don't want to use anything anti in your mouth for long term. It's a
Mhm.
good short term treatment, but not long term. So any antibiotic, any antimicrobial, or any antiseptic. Well, how many times does a mouth rinse have that on the label? And we're talking essential oils, we're talking coconut oil as well. And they have their place, just not every day and just not long term. So that's the biggest mistake I see. We learned something and now we're learning new things. And so now we want to a gently support an oral microbiome just like you gently support your body health.
I love what you're bringing up in terms of the reality that we tend to latch on to some kind of fad, and it could be a natural fad or a chemical fad, So on one hand, you have your wonderful oral rinses, and then on the other hand, you have your, oh, yes, do it with some coconut oil and some tea tree oil or whatever it is. And what you're sharing with us is that nothing is supposed to be one and done forever and ever and ever, amen. But rather that we should have more of a strategy and a plan of how to adapt to the specific needs of the oral microbiome at any given point in time, and that will fluctuate. Am I
Yeah.
right?
Well
Okay.
said. Well said. Thank you for condensing that. That was beautiful.
Well, I mean, everything that we're saying about the quote unquote gut microbiome, it can be said about the oral microbiome. And, then we have the skin microbiome. And what I keep on saying is that we're just one big hatchery for bugs, really and truly. It's like, can we come along for the ride? The rest of you guys, I don't think people really appreciate how minimal our human cells and DNA are in the vast sea of all the other bacteria. We're just a small fractional component of all the different cells that are in whatever this body is that we want to call ourselves.
We're the host.
Yeah, we are the host. We're at their behest.
Yeah.
So now that we've kind of identified some of the challenges, what are some of the things that we can do on a day-to-day basis and on a more strategic basis to balance our health and well-being? And also, what are some of the signs and symptoms that we need to look out for that would give us an indication that something is not too copacetic?
So, first thing, you do need professional care.
Mm.
Um, For one, you go to the dental office to get things. You go there to evaluate bite issues. There are a lot of soft and gentle things that can be done now to enhance jaw growth so that all your teeth fit instead of taking teeth out. So fabulous things are going on, and the dentists are out there. You will find them. I'm happy to help you with that. But what can you do right now? So you want to start reseeding a healthy microbiome. If you have been using mouth rinse for a long time and you have any of the issues of the gum disease problems, the cavities, or the bad breath,
Mm.
then you want to make sure that your home care is good. So you do need to clean your mouth regularly. And believe it or not, power toothbrushes are so much more effective. Like I like to say, when did you upgrade your cell phone last? And, some people will say 5 years, some people will say last year, and if you're still using a manual brush, do you know that manual brush technology is 1,200 years old? And so
Mm.
maybe it's time to upgrade. And there are a lot of different levels. You can get the AA battery operated ones, which are great, or you can get the, $250 variety. But
Mm.
these things really do help because they're more effective and you just hold them in one place. They're super lazy way to do brushing, and you just gently go around. You also want to use a water flosser or a water pick. Fabulous way to get in all the little nooks and crannies. You want a tongue scrape. Get the bacteria off of your tongue because those bacteria live on the back of your tongue, help your body create nitric oxide. And you may have heard of nitric oxide because it keeps your arteries open and your capillaries flexible. And I think that Michelle and I would agree that there's no place in your body that doesn't need oxygen, right?
Mhm.
So if we can keep those tongue bacteria massaged, they'll help our bodies create nitric oxide. That
Mhm.
and nose breathing, super important.
Mhm.
So we've got the home care techniques to do. And
Mhm.
then we want to look at toothpaste that has hydroxyapatite in it because that is a strengthener that is the exact same mineral that's leached out of our teeth through acid, which could be from an acidic diet, an acidic body, or just natural eating. And so hydroxyapatite toothpastes are great. Xylitol products help inhibit plaque's ability to grow and thrive. And so using xylitol products are fabulous. That helps with also sinus issues. If your kid has a lot of ear infections, you can use xylitol products with them, and that'll help get up into that, break up the biofilm in there as well, because our mouth has biofilm, just like our sinuses have biofilm. And then it also helps rebalance the pH and helps your saliva. And then you can look into adding oral probiotics. I know you can get BioGaia over the counter at maybe your neighborhood drugstore. However, there are a lot of oral probiotics that you can get that you can try as lozenges. That's the key word you want to look for. You can type in oral probiotics and
Mhm.
you're going to get
Capsules.
probiotics for your gut. Yes, that you
Mhm.
take orally, but you want the lozenges so they dissolve in your mouth and start to help those bacteria in there. And then and when you're doing that, you want to do make sure that you're not using a mouthwash at the same time. So if you feel like you need a mouthwash, you can get a really good one. There's one called Closis. There's one called Smart Mouth. And Closis is a nice, gentle one. Smart Mouth is if you really have a lot of problems. You can be more specific if you do get a salivary test. through bristlehealth.com is one of the ones that I really like because it's very broad and basic there. Um, so I think those are some tips that people can start right away.
Well, I'm curious as to what are some signs and symptoms that we need to consider that give us insight into imbalances in the oral microbiome.
Anything that is not healthy. So if your hygienist or your doctor is saying that you have pockets that are too deep,
Mm,
or if you are, so that would be a reading when they do the gum exam, that would be a
mm,
reading of 4 millimeters or greater.
mm,
If you have bleeding when you get your teeth cleaned, even when you get your teeth cleaned professionally, or especially when you do it at home, a sign of imbalance in your mouth or disease in your mouth or dysbiosis in your mouth. If
mhm,
you're getting cavities, if you build up a lot of calculus or tartar on your teeth really fast, or it
mhm,
feels like when you brush your teeth, your mouth feels dirty almost immediately afterwards,
mm.
that's an imbalance. Truly, you can wake up with a fresh mouth every morning when your mouth is balanced. Um, and sensitivity, did I say sensitivity is another one? That can be a bite issue,
Okay.
but it also can be something that can be an imbalance. So it could be an acidic issue.
And what are some of the possible downstream consequences if these imbalances are not addressed and
Oh,
resolved?
wow. Yeah. So, what I tell my patients is, I can see inflammation in your mouth. Your
Mm,
gums are swollen, you've got some bleeding. We
mm,
can control what we can see and hear. We
mhm,
can't control what that inflammation is doing in your body because
mm,
those cytokines, when they get rolling, they are not only working in your mouth, it's working everywhere. They're working everywhere in your body. So controlling one aspect of health improves all aspects of health. There have been studies time and again that have shown a connection between oral health or oral disease and heart issues,
mhm,
inability to control diabetes, low
mhm.
birth weight premature babies,
Wow.
and certain forms of cancer, including kidney, pancreatic, and
Mm,
colon cancer,
mhm.
and Alzheimer's. And they're getting more and more. If I'm not mistaken, the last thing I read was they're actually finding that oral inflammation is a cause, not just a factor.
Mhm.
So in Alzheimer's. So that's the one. But when I first started working way back and we were really going for flossing, I remember hearing that people who flossed would live 6 years longer than those people that didn't. And I
Wow.
thought, and I would share that with my patients. And I said, we don't really know why that is, that it's, is it lifestyle choices? Is it because you're just healthy in your mouth? So you just because you drink more water or whatever, just a whole thing like that. We didn't really know. But
Mhm,
now we know.
mm.
When you floss, it lowers the bacteria and that improves your health all over your body.
Wow.
And
Now,
flossing, ooh,
no, no, you said in
yeah,
flossing.
and flossing reaches those 2/5 of the tooth that you can't reach with brushing.
Mhm,
So you're missing almost half your mouth if you're not cleaning some way in between your teeth, whether it's soft picks or flossing. You need a mechanical removal. Water flossing does something different.
hmm. Okay. Wow. That's a lot for us to think about. Now, you
Mhm.
mentioned intermittently different types of tests that can be done to assess the quality or the health of the microbi of the oral biome.
Yes.
Hmm.
So there have been tests for years and years. One of the tests that I started using early on was oral DNA, which
Hmm.
can only be done in a dental office or a medical office, mostly dental. But
Hmm.
it would tell us specifically what type of bacteria and what health disease would be connected with that. So, I mean, so what body disease, like the heart disease or whatever, would be related to those problems. So, what I would recommend if somebody came in with rheumatoid arthritis that was hard for them to control, I'd say, let's do the oral DNA. We'll find out if you've got that bacteria, and then we'll know what we need to do to treat you orally to help support that, right?
Hmm. Hmm.
But what's so cool about this bristlehealth.com is you can do it in your own home. You order the kit,
Hmm.
and if I can throw out, use my code Blissful Journey, and you'll
Hmm.
get 10% off on the kit. But you just order it, and it
Hmm.
comes to your home, and all you have to do is spit. So you spit into a little vial, mail it off in the mail, prepaid envelope, and in
Hmm.
about 3 weeks, you're going to get a result back.
Okay.
Anybody who can spit can do it. So it can be a little kid can do it too.
Good, good, good. So now, hmm, who would you suggest to take that type of test?
Everybody.
Hmm. Okay.
Seriously.
What
Seriously.
what kind of information will you gather from that test? What will it tell you?
Oh, well, you can geek out as really far as you want with it,
Hmm.
because it has raw data. So you've got all the bacteria that are in your mouth. So you
Uh-huh.
can do the research and find out exactly what health issue is related to what.
Ah, okay.
But I've done, in fact, I just got a text from somebody this morning who was following the protocol that I suggested for her. And she said, my tooth is not sensitive and it feels solid again. And she was looking at getting a crown on that tooth. Now, we still have a little more figuring out to do, but she had no symptoms except for sensitivity. Even people with a dry mouth can benefit because a dry mouth can throw off everything. Oh, I
Mm.
forgot. Green tea. I forgot to mention that is a really good mouth rinse or drink for your oral
Ah,
microbiome. So add green tea to your list for daily beverages.
that's why I was just meeting with our group. We just started a group yesterday for our 90-day reset for metabolic health. And one of the first things I said is in the morning, you need to have a cup of green tea. Now, I didn't realize that it's also correlated to improving the oral microbiome, which, as you know, is very critical for people who are experiencing metabolic issues, whether it be cardiovascular based or the glucose based or whatever. So it's an interesting piece of information. Thank you.
Cool. You're welcome. You're welcome. It blends so well, you know? I
Hmm.
mean, like we were saying earlier, our mouth is part of our body, and our body, I mean, what happens in our body affects our mouth. That would be your ballywig. And then what happens in the mouth affects the body. And so it's just a fascinating world that we're living in right now.
Well, I think it's important that you started with the emphasis that it's all one being. It's not like the mouth is over here and the eyes are over there in their little world and the rest of it's just insane the way our quote unquote medical paradigm has dissected us as
Mhm.
if we're not one being. And even our insurance paradigm, where you have to have vision insurance over here and oral insurance over here and it's like, hello, it's one body. Everything interacts and relates to each other. So now I'm
Mhm.
curious, what is a person or a book or something that has inspired you and helped you in terms of your evolution with this new understanding?
One of the ones that I read recently, gosh, I can't remember the author's name, but the title is Breathe.
Oh, I
B,
love Breathe. Yes.
yes, yes, that
It's
one.
not Wim Hof. Yeah, I think it's um
Ho-
Will
Oh,
Hoffman with anyway, Breathe.
yeah, but just look up Breathe
Breathe.
and it's there.
Yeah.
But it's a
Very good
great
book.
book on how to breathe, how much breath affects us, and so mouth taping is really a hot commodity now. I mean, there's a big talk, and that gets you breathing through your nose for the nitric oxide, and it helps your arch form go better because clenching causes crowding because the muscles are clenching so hard and the tongue's not pushing back with equal force. So, nasal breathing, tongue, mouth taping, but please
Mhm.
don't tape across. Just get a little piece of medical tape
Uh-huh.
across the bottom lip, you know, that's what you want to do.
Absolutely. I love everything about that book. I've been teaching breath work for over 20 years. It is critical. It's something that is, number one, free. And number two, anyone and everyone can and should do it. In fact, we are always breathing. This is more about learning how to optimize our breath for optimal health. And I love, again, like you said in the very beginning, that we have to look at oral health even from the standpoint of the formation of our mouth, the formation of our jawbones and our teeth crowding and things of that nature that we see more of in industrial society because of the crappy food that we eat and, everything from not breastfeeding to, all of this soft nonsense that we call food. So love how you're pulling it all together. Now, before we leave for today, I would love for you to share what is the one thing that you feel is really critical for us to leave this conversation with, or perhaps it's something that we haven't addressed so far.
Well, I think we hit it all.
Wow.
But yeah, I mean, you asked such great questions. Um, because we talked about it being one big one big system we've got here, and if we have to treat it all as one, like you said. So I think we're you and I are right on the same wavelength. But if I can share a resource for
Yes.
your audience, I
And we'll
would.
have the link in the show notes. So, what is this resource that you're sharing with us?
Super. So I've got a YouTube channel that I'm going to give you the link to. It's called bit.ly, bit.ly/YBJ videos. And
Okay.
in
So,
that,
so don't worry about it, ladies. We'll have the link in the show notes. So, what's in
oh,
this link? Why should we go to this link?
because I have two hour-long presentations that are going to give you the base that you'll be able to learn more about how you can support yourself. And you'll want to look up Alchemy of Healing, Holistic Dental Health, and Holistic Dental Health 201. And that is going to give you a lot of that information. And please reach out to me,
Yes.
Sally at yourblissfuljourney.com, and ask the questions, and we will, there's not a problem that can't be solved. We just haven't found maybe the answer yet, right? So we
I
look
love
for
it.
it together.
Absolutely. Together, we'll be able to assist each other in our healing journey. And the information that you're sharing with us is so critical because a lot of times we underestimate how dangerous it is to have oral issues just continue dragging on and on and on. And I know it's hard, you guys. I know because, like I said, the crazy insurance paradigm a lot of times does not include oral health, which is just insane to me. And I know you may be thinking, oh my God, this is extra money, but it isn't. It's actually preventing you from having significant medical costs later on. So I encourage you to go to that link that we have included in the show notes to look at those videos and to reach out to Sally if you have some questions, and also reach out to her if you think that you'd like to get that testing done for yourself. I always say, lab tests, not best guess. Do not sit there in ignorance, assuming that everything is okay, just because the quote unquote, white coats tell you, oh, no problem. Yeah. Yeah. And then you'll be calling me later on with a $10,000 medical bill while you're sitting in the hospital, right? Okay,
Mhm.
so an ounce of prevention, like my mama always says, an ounce of prevention is worth a pound of cure. So please, please click on those links, go down that rabbit hole, learn more from Sally, and help you and your loved ones, your children, your husband, your aunties, your uncle, your grandma, your mama. Everyone has a mouth, last time I checked. So everyone can benefit from this information. All righty, Sally, how does that sound?
Thank you so much. That sounds fabulous because you'll live longer and healthier if you can chew your food.
There you go. If nothing else, you want to continue enjoying your food. So take care of your mouth and it'll take care of you.
There you go.
Until next time, my wonderful people, peace and blessings.
Same. Peace and blessings.
Thank you for tuning in for this episode of Mommy Heal Thyself. If you like what we're doing here, please share, subscribe, like us, and leave a comment. Your feedback is very much appreciated.